Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to do a review on Mango Languages Canadian Canadian French program. They have a course in specifically Canadian French, and I did the course. I did the course a little while ago. I finished the course a little while ago. I started about early October of 2017, and I finished around probably either, I think, sometime in May of 2018, right? And at one point, I was doing lessons every day. I did this course simultaneously with the Metropolitan French course, or just the French course as Mango refers to it. So I did those courses together, kind of like each day I would do a lesson in Canadian French and regular French, right? And then at one point I kind of started to do less. I started to do a lesson, once a day, like a lesson once a day in Canadian French and a lesson once a day in Parisian French. Then it got even, less, Then I started to do like maybe a lesson every couple of days in Canadian French and a lesson every couple of days in Metropolitan French. But for me, the lessons, I believe there are about 104 lessons in total. So I think it's a little on the short side in comparison to some other courses, language courses that Mango Languages offers. But nevertheless, I, completed all the lessons and went through them all. And I just want to give my, opinion on them and give, a bit of a review on them and let you know what I think. All right. So overall, I did enjoy it, and I do really appreciate Mango Languages creating a course specifically for Canadian French. A lot of times you'll just find French, French, and it's like French and it's parentheses like Metropolitan French or Parisian French. It's pretty much just the French from France, right? They tend to not really concentrate on any other type of variations of French, like say Swiss French or Belgian French or the different variations of African French that there are, etc. Right? So I do commend Mango Languages for concentrating on Canadian French. Also, Canadian French sometimes is sort of viewed as a like lesser French, and even sometimes referred to as a pejorative as Québécois, right? Oh, you don't speak French, you speak Québécois, like, oh, tu ne parles pas français, tu parles Québécois, right? So again, I commend Mango Languages for making the course specifically concentrating on Parisian, well, that too, but concentrating on Canadian French. When I did the course, they included some cultural notes, which I really enjoyed. I really liked that. One thing I'll say is that the cultural notes, as time went on, seemed to kind of be very far and in between. Because like in the beginning, when I first, was doing it, they gave like cultural notes about, Quebec and just, the French language as it relates to Canada. And I thought, hey, this is, a nice little touch, right? This is a nice touch. This is interesting, right? But I kind of missed those notes as time went on, I don't know if they just ran out of things to say, or maybe they just forgot to, concentrate on cultural notes. Maybe they just didn't have enough, time to concentrate on cultural notes and the French. But yeah, I kind of was like, hey, where are the cultural notes at? Um, so yeah, long story short, I appreciate them. Just wish there were more, right? Um, the French that was taught was, of course, relating to Canadian French. So I didn't really notice much of a vocabulary difference until about 41 lessons in, about more or less 40 lessons in, between Canadian French and Metropolitan French, right? And overall, I felt like the vocabulary differences, I was like, okay, all right, I guess I expected them to be a little bit more present, maybe, in comparison to Metropolitan French or whatever. Um, I don't know if that's really a criticism. I guess that's just a comment, what I expected, what I was anticipating. And there were differences, but I think they kind of seem somewhat interchangeable the way that they were created. But to be fair, there were vocabulary differences, though. Also, there was like sentence structure differences too, which I don't know if that really is supposed to be like that, or is that just something that happened? Like where it'd be like if I want to ask a question in French, the Parisian French, Metropolitan French, would ask a question as a statement instead of doing the inversion of the subject and the verb. Like, for example, Metropolitan French would ask a question like, oh, you go to the park? Like that. But Canadian French, they would flip it around and say, like, do you go to the park? Like that. They'll flip around the verbs in the subject instead of having it subject verb for a question and to be verb subject for a question. And I think you can do both, but I just found that kind of odd that it seems like the Parisian French or Metropolitan French was asking questions as subject verb instead of the way that Canadian French was doing it, which was a verb subject. And you can do both, you can. But I just found that a little odd. And I think some people may say, oh, well, it could trick them up a little bit. They could be tripped up by that. And they may feel like, is this way correct or is this way correct? And I think both ways are correct. Another thing, in the Canadian French, you sometimes will be given vocabulary, but it'll just be like a list of words that they seem to read off versus having the vocabulary presented in context, which Mango Languages usually does. But when it came to the Canadian French, for some reason, they didn't seem to want to always present vocabulary in context, right? They will just present a whole bunch of, like, shoe, which in Canadian French, I think is like soulier. I think that's how you say it. Soulier. And they'll just present like words like, oh, shoe, soulier, coat, vest, umbrella. They'll just present those words, but they won't present them in context. Like, oh, do you, like, I need my shoes, or like, what size shoe do you wear? Or, oh, your shoes look nice. They won't present the vocabulary in a context like that. They'll just present like a vocabulary word, and that's it. In some lessons, and I just found that a little odd. It just may have came off as a lack of effort or a lack of care, maybe, or maybe rushing. Like maybe it was rushed, or the lesson or the course was a little rushed. But that's something to think about. Also, and this is kind of like a criticism for both Metropolitan French and Canadian French. The lessons that Mango Languages has, they are good. They're good lessons, of course, definitely. But sometimes they'll present words without specifying the gender of the words. And if you're not well versed in French, that could be a bit of a stumble, because then you have to go look up words. And on occasions, I had done that, trying to figure out the gender of words. And also, they do this for Spanish too. And I suspect they may just do this for any language that's gendered when it comes to Mango Languages. Like sometimes, in my experience, a lot of times they don't seem to present the gender of the word when they introduce the word to you. Like, Solier, I'm not even sure if that is, it'd probably be le Solier. So, kind of luck out there, right? Because in French, the plural version of the le is not gendered. Like, say, in Spanish, it would be gendered. It'd be like los or la, right? But let's see, manteau. I think it's le manteau. I think so. I'm not sure. That's the thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. La chambre. But yeah, that's something that I think Mango Languages could work on a little bit. Just finding a way to let the learner know the gender of the word. And of course, the learners can find the gender of the words on their own, of course. But I think that, for a course or a program that's, educating you, I think that would be, I don't think that's unreasonable to ask. Just present the gender with the word. Put the article in parentheses, right? Because I think sometimes Mango Languages presents the word because you may not need the article when you are speaking in some cases. But that's just a bit of a pet peeve, not a pet peeve, but it's a bit of an annoyance that I've had. But I'll say overall, I enjoyed doing the course. I'm currently doing the Metropolitan French course. I'm about, I guess, I just finished lesson 120 of Metropolitan French. And I think they have about a little over 200 lessons. So it'll be a minute before I finish that. And that's no problem, definitely. But overall, I enjoyed the Canadian French course. They also had, I also noticed different variations in, when it came to speaking in the plural first person, like they would use on instead of new. And that's something that I noticed. And I think Mango Languages is honestly probably ahead of most of the curve, really, just by having a Canadian French course, right? Because a lot of these language folks, companies, whatever you want to call them, don't really have language courses. They tend to have more so, well, they have language courses, but they don't have like language courses specifically for Canadian French, though. It's just French. They usually concentrate on French because that's more popular. And even like a quick short story, I called this school, and this school specializes in training translators and interpreters, right? And also localization specialists and whatnot, among other things. And I asked him about, you know, Canadian French, you know, specifically like French from Quebec, right? And, you know, she kind of said that, you know, the people in the department who allows people in, you know, who admits people to the program, they kind of don't really look at that French as sort of being like acceptable, right? So, of course, again, I commend Mango Languages for providing this course. Overall, I did enjoy the course. I did learn some useful phrases, and I know more than I started with. Am I fluent? By no means, definitely. I finished the course. I don't consider myself nowhere near fluent, but that's not really what Mango Languages or any language program can really provide you. They can help you get to that, but any one language program alone is not going to get you there. And that goes across the board, honestly. Just like the way that you learned your native language, you didn't strictly learn your native language in school. You learned your native language at home in some cases, or in many cases. You learned it with family, your friends, out and about in the neighborhood. So many different ways that you don't even understand. Reading books, if you're a reader, playing video games, watching television, movies. So many different ways that you don't even notice, right? So this particular course will help you. You know, it'll be an aid, or I can supplement, but it's not something that can strictly get you there. And again, that's not just for Mango Languages, that's across the board, right? Even if you were to get a degree in French, I don't think that alone would get you to fluency, right? Me personally, I don't see that happening, right? But it'll help you, right? It'll help you get there. And I appreciate Mango Languages for helping me get to that level, right? And also, Mango Languages was free through my library. So, I didn't have to pay a lot of money. Also, there were times when, I kind of stopped doing French for like a week or two here or there because I got distracted and whatnot, with life. Mango Languages was still there, still free of charge. Versus if I took a class, then I may have wasted my money, But that's pretty much all that I want to say. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. I hope you guys have gotten something out of it. I hope that this will help you in some way. Feel free to comment. I really appreciate the feedback. And thanks for watching. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.